Ultradyne just launched their next generation chassis. We've got it here and we're going to show it in depth in this video. Hey guys, Gavin Gear here from UltimateReloader.com. This is going to be a fun story. You know why? Not only do we have Ultradyne's next generation chassis, this is the Picatinny Chassis and the Gen 2 Buttstock, we've also got a really cool project in mind for this video. We've got a Ruger American plain old Tupperware stock 223 bolt gun. I think this thing needs an upgrade. We're going to upgrade it with the next generation Ultradyne chassis system. We've got a bunch of cool bits here, but we're also going to thread the barrel. Now, it doesn't look fat enough to thread, and I've got some tricks up my sleeve for that. But before we get into those project details, let's talk about the new chassis system. So overall, it's really similar. It's got a little bit of a different profile. If you look at the contours of it, it's got a little bit of a cut going on here, same barricade stock, same integrated full-length ARCA rail. Thank you, because we use ARCA exclusively, not only for rifles, but also for all of our camera systems here at Ultimate Reloader. That's right, we can use the same tripods for shooting and cameras alike. It's got the Dynalock system down here that's going to work with our Ultradyne tripod system to keep things from sliding. One of the changes that Ultradyne made with the Gen 2 chassis is instead of a UD3, a UD5, and a UD7, which corresponds to the length and the corresponding number of M-LOK slots, now we've got two options. We've got the UD3, the shorter version, and the UD6, which is this version here. Now, if we want to extend it further, we can use the spigot, which we have right here. So I like that. It simplifies the product lineup a little bit, and there's a number of different inlets that are available. This is for Ruger American, of course, because that's what we're working on here. The mag release is contoured to be a little bit more streamlined and a bit more compact. Overall, the same basic idea as the Gen 1 chassis. Now, perhaps the biggest difference here is the mounting option for the buttstock. Now we're using Picatinny. This is becoming more and more popular with different kind of hybrid ARs and now chassis systems. So this buttstock, for instance, would be a great choice for bufferless ARs, but it's been designed to work with the next generation Ultradyne chassis. This should be a bit more secure. This also has the folding option, which means we can take this 223 bolt gun and fold it down into a really nice compact configuration, which I think is totally awesome. We've got adjustable length of pull and adjustable cheek riser with wheels, and we have nice locks here. I really like the look of that, and if you feel these, they're just really firm the way that they tighten down. I think that's going to do a great job there. We have QD cups on both sides here. We have plenty of M-LOK mounting points on the fore end of the chassis. So overall, I'm really excited about this, really curious to see how this is going to come together. Now, some of the extras. We've got a thumb shelf, and there's a dedicated thumb shelf mounting area right here. We've got the spigot, which I already mentioned. I've got a rear bag rider. We've got a length of pull spacer kit here for the buttstock. And then we also have the UD adjustable grip, which this chassis has been specifically designed to work with. This is going to allow us to adjust our finger length of pull, if you want to think about it that way, for the trigger action. So that's what we've got to work with. I'm going to go ahead and tear down the Ruger American 223. I'm going to make some decisions about the barrel length and muzzle threading options here, and I'll be back so that we can put this all together. Well, here's the completed rifle. It is a far cry from the polymer stocked budget rifle that we started with. And that is the fun of these budget rifle platforms like the Ruger American, is that you can truly turn them into anything that you want to. The chassis turned out great. The whole rifle package was really, really fun and awesome. But before I get into the chassis, my first work was to take the barreled action out of the polymer stock and to do some barrel work. I knew I wanted to run this thing suppressed, and that meant that we needed to thread the muzzle. With insufficient diameter, I ended up cutting the barrel down from 22 inches down to 19 inches, which gave me just enough to thread the muzzle in a conventional way. So I brought the barreled action over to the new PM 1440 GT VS, our new variable speed lathe that I recently did a very in-depth video on. I put a lift kit on it. It's all sorts of awesome. And so I was able to put the action through the spindle and secure it on the muzzle end with the chuck jaws, and then basically put my spider screws on sort of the back portion of the action. Did not have to take off the trigger, did not need to remove the barrel from the action, so that was convenient. And that's one of the nice things about using a lathe with a large spindle that can handle part of the action inside the spindle, and also one that has a shorter dimension between the outboard side and where the end of your chuck is, the usable capacity for it. Shorter is better for some of those muzzle threading jobs. Threaded it half 28, really slick job, did a cold bluing on it, and in no time that was out of the lathe and ready to start assembling. So with the barrel work done, it was time to put together the chassis. So the Gen 2 Ultradyne chassis, the Picatinny chassis that we see here, is awesome. I think the updates and the refinements that Ultradyne made to this chassis are definitely on point. So to go from kind of one end to the other, the spigot attaches with 3 screws on the bottom. I'm using the Aero Products rock vise so I can spin this thing all around. That thing is absolutely awesome. That goes on really, really solid and rigid. It's got an improved attachment configuration on there. And then putting the barrel to action into the chassis. For a Ruger American, you've got an action screw basically right here. And that means basically since it's going to be right above the mag catch has to come off, which is easy on this particular Picatinny chassis because you've got an Allen screw on one side and you can pull that pivot pin all the way out from one side, take it out, install the action screws, which were included with the chassis and were of the perfect length, which is great. And then to reassemble the mag catch, there's a small pin that comes with the chassis that you put through the spring and the mag catch, and then you can basically put it in place. I put a punch in, a 3/32 punch from the opposite side, and then put the screw in and pushed the punch out. I guess that was that way. And then threaded it into the hole. Really simple. And if you look at the accompanying article to this story, I'll have a little bit more information in a picture or two describing that process. If it's Remington 700, you won't have to do that, which is definitely convenient. Okay, so the barrel to action is in the chassis. We've got on the spigot. The buttstock is super easy to attach. We've just got these 2 Allen key screws right here. That clamps the buttstock to this Picatinny section on the chassis. Now we have a folder. Yay. Totally love that. I'll spin this around so that you can see what that looks like from the other end here. So you just push the button, super easy, folds flat on the side. And what's really notable here is absolutely zero movement. There's no movement on the clamp. Everything is super solid, and that makes this a really great update and upgrade for the Picatinny chassis. Okay, so spinning this back around, I also installed the shelf, which is an M-LOK accessory. There's M-LOK slots on both sides. And on the buttstock, I installed the length of pole spacers that come with the buttstock. I put all 4 in because I have a fairly long arm and I like a fairly long length of pole. That turned out to be absolutely perfect. Yeah, I discovered when I went to shoot it. And then we've got the grip. So the grip that you use with this particular chassis can either be a standard AR-15 type, or you can use the adjustable grip like what we've got here. And what that allows us to do is move it forward and aft so that we get the perfect, what I would call the trigger length of pull here. And so I have it scooted almost all the way to the rear because I have larger hands. And the install for this adjustable grip is a little bit different. You're going to take out a screw that secures the bracket to the chassis where you would install either type of grip, a standard AR-15 grip or this adjustable grip. And there's a screw that goes up through the middle frame section that's inside the grip that goes up into that threaded hole. Now we can take the sandwiched assembly and put it together. There's screws that go in from one end and nuts that you can see here that go in on the other side, and we can basically move this wherever we want it to and then lock it down with the 2 screws that sandwich the halves of the grip together. It's a really great design. I think it looks great as well. I like a vertical grip ergonomically when I'm shooting, and to have that length of pull adjustment is just makes it that much, more compelling. So at this point, the rifle is together. Then I had to think about an optic. And so what I did was I looked at scope rings that were going to work with the Weaver rail that I had on hand for the project. You might not be aware, but Weaver rails have thinner bars. And so Picatinny, which I think is 0.2 inch bar width, Picatinny rings won't fit in these narrower slots. But these Athlon rings will fit in either Picatinny or in Weaver. So that's handy. So I used those. I grabbed an Aries BTR Gen 2. This is the 4.5 to 27 by 50. This one happens to be in MOA. Got that mounted nice and level. At this point, we're ready to go up to the 100-yard range and sight this baby in. So for my sight in, I did my standard procedure of putting the rifle on the bench rest. I have a bag rider that slides over the Picatinny spigot here, and looked through the bore, got things kind of pre-dialed, and then took a couple shots, got things moved over, and did about, I think, 11 shots total in a target spot to confirm my zero and to get a velocity so that we could go up to the ridge line and do some longer range shooting. So up on the ridge line, I wanted to set up a scenario like what I would use this rifle for, and that is shooting rock chucks, you guessed it. And we've got steel rock chucks from DM Targets out at 335 yards. So I had previously blown one off the hanger with our 7PRC medium action build. That's a separate video that you're going to want to check out. So I only had one left, but let me tell you, I pelted this guy over and over, and it felt really good to finally put this whole package, into motion. After that, we moved over to the tank trap and did a little bit of PRS style shooting. Being a good candidate for a PRS rig, I wanted to make sure that I did a little bit of positional shooting with this Picatinny chassis, and I found it to work absolutely awesome. So at the end of the day, I'm really impressed with the latest generation of Ultradyne chassis. The UD3 and the UD6 simplification of the lengths, I think, makes a lot of sense. I really like the Picatinny buttstock attachment. The new buttstock is absolutely amazing. It's super slick. It's kind of minimal in a way that I like. I love the adjustable grip. The mag catch is now more streamlined. And overall, I really like how this package came together. If you're looking for a chassis, and you want something that is going to be quality and is going to be adaptable and uses this latest method of attaching buttstocks with Picatinny, I think the Ultradyne Picatinny chassis would be a great way to go. What I'd like to know from you is, what do you think about this build? Now, Ultradyne does offer inlets for other actions as well, so you're going to want to check their website to see what's going on there. But for this Rogue American build, what do you think of the 19-inch barrel, the suppressor, the Picatinny chassis, the Athlon Aries optic? Love to hear your feedback. Drop a comment and we'll see you down there in the comments section. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're watching Ultimate Reloader on TV and want to take advantage of free resources, exclusives, and hot deals, just hold your camera phone up to the QR code, tap on the link, fill out the information, boom, you're getting Ultimate Reloader emails. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, where we've got unrestricted content, and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on all those channels. Ultimate Reloader also has a commercial solutions division serving law enforcement, the military, and the gun industry. We have some unique capabilities, including a comprehensive suite of recoil testing and evaluation capabilities, trigger profiling, and more. Thanks again for watching.